this meeting to order. I'd like to start by saying we have regrets from trustees Lychuk, Land, and Brady. Also like to start by acknowledging we're signatories of Treaty 5 and we reside in the traditional territory of the Nisitaway as a Cree Nation, and we are all treaty people. I'd like to start by asking a motion to approve the agenda. Now it's everybody. Trustee Oliveira, Trustee Fitzpatrick. All those in favor? Passed. Moving on, I'd like to ask for a resolution to accept the minutes as circulated. Trustee Tucker, Trustee Oliveira. Any comments? All those in favor? Passed. Moving on to delegations. I'd like to welcome the presentation from Wapanux Community School. This might not make for perfect television.
What if we set it up over here and we rotate?
No.
No? What about you? Yeah, or over here.
Yeah, why don't we, can we put it right in front of it?
Because it's, you have to read it again. That corner is empty.
All right. So thank you for having us, our little delegation. I have Madeline Ponas, teacher at the high school. And we have Lucas Anasanen, a student at the high school. And myself, Kathleen. We've had this program for, we're debating how long, but at least 7 years. And I thought we've never really shared it with anybody. It's sort of like this deep, dark secret, but it's a real gem. So we thought we'd just talk about the program. And then Lucas just came back from Winnipeg going to a gathering, so you can talk about that. And Madeline, who's helped with the program for another number of years with the high school students, she'll talk about that. And I'm just going to give a general little overview of the program. So, it's called Mini Names. Rec and Read's my favorite because it sticks in my head. The school board calls it expanding the circle, which I like because it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The other name is Aboriginal Youth Mentorship Program. And their motto is Mino Pima Tisuin, a good life or living in a good way. So Wapanux School has the program Tuesdays. It goes from 3:30 to 5 o'clock for 20 weeks. Starts in January and it will end in May, which is coming up very shortly. It started with Joni House at U of M. She's in the kinesiology department. And it came out of an idea that we don't have enough Indigenous phys ed teachers. And then all of a sudden it turned into a mentor leadership program and went into some schools to just see what they could do and how they could improve things for kids. And then John McGavin, he joined the group. And now we have participation from Quebec, Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta. But it started in Manitoba. And some of the key elements were for funding and also for the research is fighting diabetes too, because everybody knows it's epidemic among Indigenous people. So one of the things is eating healthy. So that are two of the real big components are the recreation to run around, be really healthy, and to eat really well. And to get the kids feeling that that's a normal thing to do and that's how we should live our lives. And we've had it from 7 years. Barb Carlson has really been the one that's held it together. We have partnerships left and right. She's at UCN, early education. And Alexa is Horvison, she just joined us, and she was a former mentor. We used to have quite a number of the early educators came and would be mentors. And then the high school, we pushed a few years, And I think we've got it down now. They're actually coming and it's working. But to fill in that part, we had to have mentors, and we'd get some from UCN. So we thought we'll use some grade 8, because the mentorship goes to the grade 4s. So we thought this is a good place. So now we have 8s, we have high school students, and former mentors that were at grade 8. And that's kind of the idea, is like to see the mentors move their way up and then eventually become leaders. And they get lots of opportunities to go to different events across Canada. The one in the summer, I think, was Manitoulin Island.
Mhm.
And one year they went out to New Zealand, and they've been out to the mountains. So it's huge horizon of opportunities. The concept of good food, healthy activity, good company leads to the good life. The mentors help the young students to feel safe and create a strong connection with the grade 4. Mission is to develop and deliver relationship-based communal mentor programs involving children, youth, and adults. Informed by Indigenous worldviews and practice, we seek to build the strength of the youth from the diverse population to the world where all children and youth have a safe, healthy place to be, belonging and grow and give of themselves. Follow Dr. Martin Brokenleg with the 4 areas of belonging, mastery, independence, and generosity, and that's what they practice during the program. They also follow the 4 R's from Verna Kirkness: respect, relevance, responsibility, reciprocity. And they add into, of course, to deal with the body, the heart, the mind, and the spirit. So it's a very holistic way of looking at things. The research process is they do come in twice a year and do measurements. So they measure their height, their weight, their hip and waist circumference. And they do that with the grade 3s, the 4s, and the 5s. But the grade 4s are the ones that actually are the research group. And then there's a new program that we started 2 years ago. And we use a health well-being assessment. And it tests how they feel about themselves. And it's done, what I like, it's done with the mentors. The mentors have to take it. And the grade 4s. So I thought I'd read a couple of the questions. I make healthy choices. I forget things. I hurt other people when I'm angry or upset. I'm grateful for what I have. I break things when I'm angry. I feel like hurting myself. There are things in my life that make me happy. So there are a total of 62 questions, but the kids never complain about it. So they answer it freely. 2 people come in from Winnipeg, a former student from Artie Parker that comes in, Tamara Beardy, which is really nice to see familiar faces from RDPC and the Yak group, where we're seeing a Yak t-shirt there. So the 2 people go in, they ask the questions, and then the results are passed to the counselors. So if they feel that a kid is very much at risk, they go speak to the kid, and if they need to speak to the parent, they do that. So it's a real eye-opener for us. It was created in Ontario in the Reserve. It was done by people in the community, and it seems like a really good reflection piece. We get to keep the instrument. It's on its own little computers, and you answer it that way, and in the end, it pops up, and they'll do the 4 different areas, and they'll show where the kid needs extra help. It's quite nice. So they do that twice a year. And the funding comes from multiple sources. It comes from the province of Manitoba, the Public Health Agency of Canada, the Sports Manitoba, MHRC Research, Canadian Diabetes Association, the Winnipeg Foundation, University of Manitoba, Kinesiology and Recreation Management, the Office of Indigenous Achievement, and Donor Relations. So that's a little synopsis. I'm going to pass it first to Madeline and then Lucas.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing us to speak. My part in the Aboriginal Mentorship Program is to promote it in the high school. This is our 3rd year that we've been running it in the high school. We started off with 2 mentors. This year we are up to 11. And we have consistently 6 that show up on a regular basis. It is an after-school program, so it allows them to I find that it allows the kids the opportunity to see different types of employment opportunities as well. While we're over at Wapanuck, their job is to assist the mentors to run the program. We feed them first. During our talks, we bring in the seven teachings as well. We talk about things that they're being bullied or not, so we teach them on, we can help them with coping mechanisms when it comes to bullying. And just having that a positive line of communication with their older siblings. Today I discovered that there's a brother and sister, one at the high school and one at Wapanuck. So it was kind of cool seeing that and seeing that interaction between family. So I am, since then, this year at the high school, we have an after-school program that runs on Mondays from 4 to 5 o'clock. And there, that is where I teach them about healthy lifestyle and eating healthy snacks as well. Because we all know that type 2 diabetes is up on the rise, especially among our youth. And I feel that our mentors need to be in good shape as well if they're going to be working with the little kids and they enjoy it. So, thank you. Your turn. Over to Lucas now.
My part in the Youth Aboriginal Council is being a mentor at the high school and at the elementary school of Wapanuck. And recently I went on a trip about last week Wednesday. I left. It was a youth conference. I was chosen to go after my commitment in the mentorship program, and I met a lot of other mentors, met other people, met former mentors, former students from Horticultura, the head of the mentorship program, to say, and it was a really great experience. We had a tour. We met at the University of Manitoba, and we had we had a tour of the university, and there you go.
Yeah.
What else did you do?
I met a lot of other, as I said, a lot of other mentors, and I made a few new friends, such as Aaron, Karen, and others that I can't remember at the moment. But it was a really great experience, and I hope I get chosen or someone else is chosen to go on a trip that is similar.
Good.
Okay.
Any questions?
Welcome.
It sounds really interesting. So you've completed the internship and you got to go on the trip. What's the next step for you?
Just to stay in the mentorship program and help out the grade 4s and 8s before they come on to the high school.
What's nice when they go out and they meet other mentors, they meet the older mentors. Like there's a few mentors now that are going into education. So you start to see a line of, possibilities, what I could do, where I could go, where I could be. And they also usually practice some extra games. Like all the games are non-competitive. They're just to have fun, lots of action. Enjoy themselves, feel good about themselves. So they're constantly training. There's meetings all the time. Lots of meetings. I usually don't go to them.
How many mentors do you have?
Well, we have a few, but I'm one of the more consistent ones from the group. As Madeline said, there's 11 of us, but 6 regular mentors. We have one consistent one at the elementary, and then 5 from the high school.
Okay. Anyone else?
I just want to say thank you for coming, and also that's just incredible what you're doing, Lucas, and we're very proud of you, and we just really encourage you to carry on, and just thankful for the adults who really ensure that this type of program carries on because it's so helpful. So just thanks a lot.
Lucas, this question's for you. So when you have your evening with, is it your Monday nights? Tuesday nights. So Tuesday, you eat, you play a game. Games, there's a teaching.
Yeah.
What is the favorite part for those grade 4 kids?
Usually the games.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So what kind of games do you play?
Just a lot of games such as hot dog tag, freeze tag, dodgeball sometimes, and then something with the rainbow.
It's
The
that
parachute.
parachute game, I think it's
The one is called Crocodile?
shark.
We have-
Shark.
It's called shark.
And you're outside, there's one picture of it, and you're outside, and the shark is underneath, and the shark pulls you, but people are trying to save you. It's funny.
They love that game, so.
You're doing good work.
So what they do before, at the end of each class, we'll get together in a sharing circle, and the talking stick is passed around, and each one will make their comments. They can pass if they choose not to, and they also make recommendations for the next snack. So we're finding now that the choices of snacks are much more healthier, like broccoli, they really like broccolis, and snow peas, so they're asking for more healthy foods, and they love the smoothies, so it's wonderful to see it, and when you walk around in the community and they recognize you, that's just awesome. So that's all we got to say.
Sandra, did you?
Just thank you for coming. It's an exciting program, and God, Lucas, we need more mentors out there your age, so
I also
really great
think,
thing that you're doing.
yeah, I also think it's really cool that somebody put it together in a way that you got to go somewhere and meet the other mentors. That adds a lot to something when you know it's part of something big. So that was a great job you did of telling us about it, so thank you very much.
Welcome.
And those were actually perks we didn't know that they were going to happen.
Pleasant surprises,
Well, that's surprising.
for sure.
So thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
How you doing, bud?
That was cool.
Would you reach out?
Very good.
Moving on to the deathly dull portion of the agenda. Business from the previous board meeting, we have none, except the trustee indemnity bylaw, second reading. So the first reading of bylaw 02/18 occurred at the April 10, 2018 regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. A second reading is required for trustee indemnity bylaw 02/18, whereas section 56(1) to 3 of the Public Schools Act provides that a school board may by bylaw, pay an annual and additional indemnity to the chairperson and to each trustee and reimburse its trustees, trustees-elect, or employees for expenses necessarily incurred while attending conventions or carrying out duties assigned or approved by the school board and at such rates and under such conditions as the board may determine. 3 readings are required for a bylaw. Asking for a mover for the second reading of the trustee indemnity bylaw. Trustee Oliveira, Trustee Tucker. Any discussion? All those in favor? Pass. Moving on to third reading. Do I have to really do this again? I do, don't I? Yes, okay. Bylaw 02/18 has just received second reading. The first reading of the trustee indemnity bylaw 02/18 occurred at the April 10, 2018 regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. A third and final reading is required for trustee indemnification bylaw 02/18. Whereas section 56(1) to 3 of the Public Schools Act provides that a school board may by bylaw pay an annual and additional indemnity to the chairperson and to each trustee and reimburse its trustees, trustees-elect, or employees for expenses necessarily incurred while attending conventions or carrying out duties assigned or approved by the school board, and at such rates and under such conditions as the board may determine. 3 readings are required for a bylaw. I have a mover for third reading of the bylaw. Trustee Fitzpatrick, Trustee Tucker. All those in favor? Passed. Moving on, Superintendent of Human Resources and Policy Report.
You can see there are a number of teaching positions posted. If you look at the list, these are some of the more challenging ones to fill, i.e. speech and language pathology, French immersion, Cree language, choral music. Again, I thank those people who submitted their resignations ahead of time, so it gives you kind of a bit of a head start on trying to recruit, because these are very difficult, some of the more difficult teaching positions to fill. I was in attendance at a number of district as well as community events. I just wanted to comment on the Northern Regional Science Fair that took place not last weekend but the weekend before. There are 2 projects from the Northern Region moving on to the Canada-wide Science Fair, which is in Ottawa. One was a young gentleman from Flin Flon, and he developed it was a type of, what type of dish would, you were there?
What shape of disc would better broadcast
Cast.
the signal?
Yes, and we also had 2 ladies from Thompson from the Riverside School. The project was done in both in French and English, and I cannot remember their names. I know their parents. And they did a project on how music affects blood pressure. And I won't tell you what their results or their conclusions were, but I was thinking maybe that I could invite them to do a presentation at the board level. I'll probably wait till they get back from the Canada-wide, so it'll probably be in June, early June. I have a resignation. Lori Zimmerman has submitted her letter of recognition effective May 8th. Ms. Zimmerman has been employed with the district since 2007, and she has been the senior accounts clerk at the school board office. I'd just like, on behalf of the board of trustees and myself and Lori and Kelly, to wish her well. They're moving to Brandon. So. And that's it. Are there any questions?
Thank you. Superintendent of Educational Services and Program.
Provided my report. Been busy with lots of meetings. It's that time of year, especially meeting with the province. Just want to point out that there's an acronym error. I wish Janet was here because she'd want to know what BSAP is, but it's actually been changed to BISIP. Aboriginal has been changed to Indigenous. I attended the kickoff luncheon for the Kids, Cops and Computers at Juniper School. Many of you may have seen it in the paper. The paper was there. They did a feature on that. So I have 8 students, but it's actually 9 students who were chosen to take part in the program. And the students actually had to apply to be in the program. And so now they meet once a week, and students are learning on how to be socially responsible in regards to computer cyberbullying. So at the end of the time that they're with Constable Dybert, the students will put together a presentation, and they will be coming here in June to do a presentation. But upon completion of the program, the kids get to keep their computers. So that was a win-win for those kids. They're all very keen, very happy. They got to unwrap their computers that day. We had lunch, so it was exciting to be there. The next day, Janet Tomey from Manitoba Education and Training was here to review our district's continuous improvement plan. That's a 37-page document that was submitted in October. And she'd never been to Thompson, so we had to kind of give her the whirlwind tour. She promises to come back so she can get to know our community a little bit better. But the priorities that have been laid out by the province are around Indigenous education, literacy, numeracy. We talked about our strong beginnings, early literacy intervention, student attendance, and funding challenges. She's going to take back all that information, and then there'll be a reflection with our plan, and then we'll be meeting again to talk about our continuous improvement plan and next steps. we did have an ask of the department, and that was how to better mainstream the amount of data that we have. It's recognized that we have a lot of data in the district. We have, you know, our SIMS data, we have our provincial data, and then we have individual school data. There's a lot of data, but we just need to figure out how we're going to streamline it so it's more accessible for people. So in saying that, I also attended the early enhancement grant meeting through Zoom, which is a bit challenging. All the superintendents in the province were invited to this early enhancement grant meeting, and they're looking at ways of changing that. Right now, we use our early enhancement grant, which was formerly the 20K3. We use that to offset the cost of our early literacy intervention program. We identified 3 schools that would benefit from full-time ELI teachers. So in that, they provide us with some of these charts. Not sure if these charts were for public consumption, but I would like to note out of these, the school district of Mystery Lake have been identified as having the most self-declared Indigenous students, aside from Frontier and Park West were not included in the data. So 55% of our students have identified as being Indigenous. That is 1,005 students. So I think we need to take note of that. The Mystery Lake School District, our number of EAL students, we have 6% of our student population is EAL, which is English as an additional language. Students who are in the care of CFS, we have the highest number of students at 7%, aside from Frontier again and Park West, who were not included in. And I think that's because there's a number of partnership agreements within those 2 divisions. And then of interest, the number of students enrollment per square kilometer, and we were second. We have a student population of 63.608 students per square kilometer. The next highest is Winnipeg School Division with 104 students per square kilometer. So I just thought that would be interesting for people to know. The other piece that I wanted to share today around data is that attendance has always been on our radar. It's something that we're always looking at, dealing at. We have our monthly attendance, but I thought that would be good for people to know that what we're doing as a district around attendance. So we have attendance plans, we have credit reviews at the high school. There's an actual attendance procedure in our procedural manual. We have counselors following up. We have hallway monitor reports at the high school. We have a family outreach coordinator. We have community connectors. We have activity tabs. So everything that's happening around attendance is being recorded. So I wanted to know how many students we had in our district as of last week who had more than 50 absences. Well, we ended up with 255 students who have over 50 absences. And I can't stress enough that, you know, daily attendance is really important. Daily attendance has the greatest impact on student learning. So now I've identified the students by school, and I'll be having those conversations with the schools, identifying families. And that's my report.
Oh, yes.
I have a question. I thought you were going ahead. It looked like you were just going to move ahead.
I might have. So it was a good move on your part. Actually, thank you, Trustee Oliver.
For what?
he bumped me in the arm because he knew I was gonna move ahead, that's
So
why.
did,
Choke- I
so
would
did
choke
Sandra.
No,
They
I
both
looked at her to see what I should do next, I was working
Okay,
on it.
it's just it's just a brief thing. Do you have any further breakdown available, like right here, in respect to the absence, like in the elementary schools compared to the high school? Is the majority in high school? I guess is like per capita. I mean, no way.
No,
Elementary.
and so that makes sense why attendance becomes a bigger issue at the high school, because the patterns are being set in the earlier
Okay.
years. So there's a couple of schools where have identified higher attendance and their families.
Mhm.
So that's our next target.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I don't have any questions. I just want to say thank you for the information. I like it.
We have a request for participation in a study investigating public school language initiatives in Manitoba. Did you want me to keep reading, or did you want to explain it a little?
I can just explain it briefly. So we have received a request from Frank Deere, who is a faculty member at the University of Manitoba. And he has a study that is titled Investigating Public School Language Initiatives in Manitoba. So we've been approached for him to come and interview people who work at Wapanek School. And in here it says that he's received permission to conduct this study from myself. That is not the case. Just want to let you know that it is outside research. It needs to come to the board. I did tell him that I would be recommending that the board pass a resolution. I think it is very helpful as far as the data collection. So he's provided the questions in regards to what he's going to ask. They are fairly straightforward. I don't think there's any hidden agenda in this. And he has also sent us the ethics approval. And at any time, we can opt out. So I just want to recommend that we approve the request.
Can I get a move?
Sandra.
Trustee Fitzpatrick, the seconder, trustee Tucker.
But I can
Anybody have any
question.
questions?
I'm just wondering, and I didn't read this over as well as I should have, I'm just wondering if it's optional.
For teachers?
Mhm.
Actually, we've identified our pre-coordinator as one of the people, and then our admin team and myself as,
And they've all agreed to this?
yeah, they're okay with it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Call vote. No other questions? All those in favor? Pass. Secretary Treasurer's report?
I have nothing formal at this time. We're in the process of preparing the March 31st financial statements for consolidation with the province. We'll be bringing forward some information to the Finance Committee. Our next Finance Committee meeting will be May 8th. And that's at this time.
Thank you. Correspondence, anything from the School Board Association?
No. There is, no. No, we're good.
Other correspondence, we have a letter from Mayor Fensky about the Valley Grant in lieu. Letter says this letter is in follow-up for notification to the school district in regards to the valet grant in lieu effective January 1, 2018 to December 31, 2021. As you're aware, the City of Thompson Mayor and Council received a substantial reduction in the grant in lieu from Valet Manitoba operations, and through our budget deliberations have had to make the difficult decision not to distribute funds to the school district of Mystery Lake for the term of the agreement. I would like to thank the school district of Mystery Lake for their understanding and wish you great success in the coming year. If you have any questions regarding the above matter, do not hesitate to contact me. Signed, Dennis Fensky. This was anticipated. We had the opportunity to work with the city in meeting with Valet early in the grant and lieu discussions, and we're aware that this would be the likely outcome before we set our budget. So one of the things we can say is that the budget was developed in anticipation of this, and that we won't need to make any changes to it. Anyone have any other questions, or? Okay. We had one other piece of correspondence just received, and it was an invitation from Mamawituk. It is, of course, on the computer, which is super not handy right now. But I can tell you that it was an invitation to their anniversary general meeting. I believe it's on May 24th. And they were asking us to come and address. I can say that on May 24th, I'll be out of town. So we'll be looking for someone else that can attend on behalf of the school district. We don't necessarily have to decide that right now. Would you like to do it, Trustee Tucker?
Yeah, I'm always there. Did you say I have to go in a dress?
No, you have to talk to them.
Okay.
It's not one of those silent presence
Did you
things.
hear that?
Address, that's all.
Address. Go
And address.
Go enter.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Greetings.
Greetings.
Bring greetings on behalf of the school.
Got it. May
So I
25th.
could have phrased that better.
to wear.
Yes, and pants if you'd like.
So that's their anniversary AGM?
Yeah.
I always go to their AGM, so,
And I'll forward you a copy of the letter once the internet is a thing again.
thank you.
That was it for that. Committee reports. This is going to be quick given the attendance. Anything from Policy Committee?
We met
And you are
Yeah.
largely alone.
Liz has all the, Liz has all the meeting minutes. We met, I think it was last week sometime, so whatever the date was.
Wednesday.
Yeah, I'll allow Liz to report on that when she gets back.
Okay. Education and programming?
We met, but, and so what we did was review this policy that had been forwarded to us by the policy committee. And it was just to be considered to be inserted into the current policy manual in respect to when specific data should be reviewed. And the Education Programming Committee, in discussions with the superintendent, we really liked it, and we've seen some really positive things in there. We're just in the process of creating a template for us to gather data. And so I don't have anything like right here and now to hand over. And plus I'd like to ensure that all the board members have the opportunity to see the new policy. And then I have to work with the policy committee and see if that's the policy committee or the education programming committee. So it's a little bit complicated, but not really complicated. Does that cover it, Lori? Okay. That's all. And yeah, we met.
I think that from what I understand, from the policy committee end of things, that Lori and I were to sit down and look at the, and monitoring schedule and determine, I mean, there's some things that may not be relevant.
Exactly.
It's like quite a daunting list of things, so.
It is, but it looks doable, and especially in respect to what we can, it's quite doable, is it not, in respect to what we can see in the district and the reports we have coming up now, where we have the problems like what Laura spoke about was the different forms of data collection. It's hard to mix and just pull up things because we don't have it all in one big context. It's in 3 or 4 different ways, and that's hard to pull data out when it's in 4 different programs. So, having said all that, we will be sending that new policy out to all the board members, and then we'll have a discussion at this level.
Thank you. Any questions? Public Relations Committee.
Here we got a meeting just before coming here, and some of the things we spoke to, updated budget. We are definitely in a negative cash position because some of the costs we have going out. We will be looking for some more, as we spoke to earlier. We'll be going to the Finance Committee because we still have some retirements, dinner gifts, student awards that we have to deal with, which all comes out of the PR budget. Education Week, schools seem to be happy with the gift baskets, assortment of gifts that we sent out to them. The Happy Lights seem to be a hit. The community report, now, supposed to come out in June. Is it too late for June?
That's the newsletter.
Or the newsletter, sorry. But then the community report's coming out. Who is, I guess my question would be, who's assigned to it? Who's assigned to gather the information, seeing as we have a few changes going on here? Question for discussion afterwards. Retirement dinner, thrown around a few dates, June 13th or the 20th. So, once we figure out who all's retiring, see what we can get in place, who can attend June 13th or the 20th, we do have to make the reservation pretty soon, I imagine, so we can get in there. Full day kindergarten, we talked about the transition to, in 2019. This decision will remain. Website, this came up at the last meeting, I guess, a little bit of discussion was passed on. I was not there. I would love to see something happen with this, but I'd like to know who's gonna take care of this. It concerns me that we would add something else, as our website sometimes lags on information in a timely manner. I'd hate to add something else to somebody's plate, and who would that plate be, I guess? Community engagement. Policy 6, we reviewed that, we'll be discussing this at a board level, I guess. Some of the things we do, others need to be addressed. I'm not gonna speak to them individually, but we'll go through them, as I said, at a community level. All right, as a board level, I mean. Our next meeting is scheduled for May 22nd at 5 o'clock. And that is all I have.
Any questions?
I think that's all. Did I miss anything?
Yeah, no, I would just add in terms of, like our budget for PR, that we're not over, I guess, and maybe Kelly wants to speak to that, but we're not over like in our budget line specifically as a district. It's just that specific committee that we set a certain amount and we've went over it, but we're not actually in a deficit, I guess, right, in that area. As overall, as a
Correct,
district.
overall in
Yeah.
in the function itself.
Yeah.
It is combined with retreats and consultants brought in on behalf of the board. So, with us not having board retreats this year so far, there isn't a deficit.
Just one second, this has to be moved and seconded before discussion takes place, if this is a discussion.
I was just
We were just
clarifying
bringing it
something
from-
about our report since I'm on the committee, that's all.
Okay,
It's just for information.
okay. Just that Kelly wanted to say something, and it has to be moved and seconded before anybody says anything or discusses it.
Should we just clarify the point of clarification?
Yeah, I think that's all we're doing right
Okay,
now.
if you're all
Because
clarified.
we're not gonna make a decision on it.
No.
Yeah, we're not voting on it.
Regardless, you do have to have a motion and a seconder before you have a discussion on anything.
We've never moved or.
Oh, you don't
seconded
move this one, never mind.
report.
Ignore me,
Yeah.
smack me.
Well, we don't have to go that far.
All right.
Totally forgot about that one.
Carry on, please.
Finance Committee, or did, sorry.
Someone else had a question about the report.
No,
No, we're good.
No?
No?
Okay.
Finance committee has nothing, we meet on May 8th. At 4:45 PM.
And trustee comments, starting with trustee Fitzpatrick.
I went to Knights of Columbus on Friday and got to hand out medals. It was so much fun.
Did you take Tylenol before you went?
It was so much fun. It was so exciting. There was lots of noise, lots of cheering. It made me feel like a kid again.
Didn't mean again.
I think I'm just gonna keep saying how much fun I had, so you should move on.
Anything?
No problem.
I just wanted to mention that there's the 2018 Pulse Tour concert tomorrow at RDPC. The band, the Adrenaline Jazz Ensemble, the Artie Parker Intermediate Jazz Ensemble, the Vocalmation, whatever that is, community band, lots of things going on tomorrow, 7 o'clock at RDPC, Leckman Theater.
Thank you. Man, it's badminton zones this weekend.
Is that here?
Yes, possibly the most exciting event of the year.
It is. Is that where, like, there's dozens of communities?
Yep.
Come? That's like a fantastic time. I'm making note of that.
Churchill is coming. I have not asked how they're getting here. I hope it's an airplane.
Oh, yeah, well, I guess that's not a choice.
The new Winter Road.
No,
Thanks.
pretty sure not.
So, badminton zones.
And questions from the public?
Oh.
All of them.
Actually, I have an invitation for you, or as I pull it up. I have an invitation on behalf of Juniper School. Our student council is currently fundraising, all through April, they've been fundraising for clean water. We're doing a walk for water on Friday. It will be starting at 1 p.m. from Juniper School with drummers, and we'd like to invite all of you to join us. We've invited other schools to join us as well. It's going to be going, I think, down Cree Road, all around Thompson Drive, back to KSU and back. Cree Road is, I think that's the route. You can talk to Sherry Porth, who's one of our student council teachers and has spearheaded this project. We're going to be fundraising money to go towards a well. And this is a multi-year project, but our student council is incredibly enthusiastic. So I know within a few years they'll reach out. But if any of you can make it, we'd love to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Out of curiosity, Lori, which school had the most absences out of all?
I think I'm just going to leave it at a district level
Okay,
for now.
okay.
Okay. Thank
Thought I'd give it a shot.
you. Okay. Good try. Next time.
That's all I can do.
Good answer, Laura.
We don't have anything on the in-camera agenda unless somebody has something to add. Okay, then,
We have a trustees only, don't we?
but that's not part of the in-camera agenda.
Okay.
We adjourn first. Can I give a motion to adjourn? Trustee Fitzpatrick, Trustee Tucker. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.